So my name is Mark Schwartz. I'm an associate professor at the School of Administrative Studies in the new Faculty of Liberal Arts and Professional Studies here at York University. I actually graduated from York University, both political science with a BA and then a joint MBA law degree, and then finally a PhD specifically in business ethics. I believe that every business student needs to graduate with their own personal view on corporate social responsibility. And we see that the view that they have when they graduate can have an impact on very important business decisions later on in life. There's, for example, the story of Jeffrey Skilling, the former CEO of Enron, who apparently, when he did his MBA at Harvard, took the view that the only obligations of a firm are essentially to maximize profit, maybe while abiding by the law. And we see as a result that decisions can be made where, in fact, a lot of stakeholders are harmed as a result of that particular view on corporate social responsibility. So I believe it's tremendously important for business students and managers to determine what their own personal view on that debate is. Right now I'm completing a book in corporate social responsibility for Broadview Press, and that particular book is really designed for students and as a supplemental text for a business ethics or corporate social responsibility course. And that text is really set up to introduce the debate over corporate social responsibility. In other words, to what extent does a firm have obligations? Is it simply to maximize profit while obeying the law, or are there additional ethical and maybe even philanthropic obligations? I don't take the position for business students that the only reason they should engage in ethical behavior or so-called socially responsible behavior is because it's good business. That may be true, but there can be cases, one can argue, where in fact there's an ethical obligation to do the right thing. And to the extreme, where in fact I would say some companies or industries maybe shouldn't even be in business. Now, two theoretical models I've developed, and they've both been published and also I use in my teaching. So one is what I call a three-domain model of corporate social responsibility. So the standard framework before used to be a pyramid of corporate social responsibility. So your economic and legal obligations, followed by ethical, and then finally philanthropic. And it's in the shape of a pyramid. And what I did with the author of that pyramid, Archie Carroll from the US, is to reformulate it. So now we have only three domains: economic, legal, ethical. It's a Venn diagram, so three concentric circles. And the idea is that none of those obligations is necessarily more important than the other. And the idea is that you want to end up in the middle, hopefully, for all of your activities being considered economic, legal, and ethical. And we use that framework for looking at various cases and analyzing them and comparing different companies as well. Another theoretical framework that I've developed, again with Archie Carroll, is called the VBA model. And what I discovered is that in the business and society field, it can be very confusing very quickly. Why? Because you have five dominant frameworks out there. You have corporate social responsibility, business ethics, stakeholder management, sustainability, and corporate citizenship. And all the academics, and even in the business community, you see that people will refer to these concepts and frameworks in different ways. Sometimes they believe they're exactly the same thing, in other cases completely distinct. So what I did with Archie Carroll is we reviewed all the literature that we could find on these five frameworks and tried to identify what are the three core elements that unify or unite all of these five frameworks together. And what we discovered is that there are three. Value. Generating sustainable value for society is one. B for balance. Sometimes you have to balance potentially competing stakeholder interests. So it's not just the shareholders' interest, it's also consumers, employees, community, natural environment, and so on. And then finally, accountability. So you see it's very important today for firms to disclose not just their financial performance, but also their non-financial performance and activity, and to allow interested stakeholders to properly judge those firms based on that activity, whether it's in an ethical, environmental, or social report. So it's the value, balance, and accountability framework, and again, this is part of what we hope will be used by others teaching in the field or doing research in the field. There was just recently a study published in the Journal of Business Ethics in August 2010 that looked at business ethics research from universities as well as individual academics from around the world. 67 different countries were looked at, over 1,400 academic institutions. York University in the global ranking was number 7 in terms of its business ethics research. And along with myself, there were several other professors here at York University that made the top 50 individual list. And as part of that contribution, I just feel very fortunate to be part of that business ethics community here at York University.